Starter Pokemon. The very first Pokemon that we choose to take with us on our Pokemon journey. These Pokemon are very dear to most trainers' hearts, as they are our companions that stick with us from the very beginning of our journey till the very end. Some trainers pick their starter Pokemon based off their looks, some based on their battle capabilities, some at random, but some trainers pick their starter Pokemon based off of their types, and only ever use the starter of that particular type. But it's not just the similar types that bind these starters together, as every starter type shares a common theme. Some themes might be a bit more obvious than others, but they're definitely there with all three typings. However, between the three typings, the fandom has only really found concrete proof of a theme following one of the typings. Themes are there for the other two typings as well, but it's a little more ambiguous. You'll see what I mean as you watch the video, but just know that because of that, the things that I'm saying in this video shouldn't be taken as absolute fact. Along with the typings, every generation of starters share their own unique theme as well, separating them from the other starters of their type, while causing uniformity among the trio. And while I'm very eager to talk about those themes as well, especially since they're more concrete and have even been confirmed by the game developers, we're gonna have to save that for another video. For now, let's talk about the three starter typings and their own distinct themes. The grass type starters, extinct animals. Starting off with the one that's arguably the most difficult one to notice and pinpoint, the grass starters. And truthfully, this one's gonna be pretty speculative compared to the other two. Prior to Generation 5, the grass type starters were commonly believed to be based off of dinosaurs, as all of them had some aspect of the design or origins come in from the ancient creature. However, that all changed in Generation 5, as Serperior is definitely not based off of any dinosaur. But going through the list of starters, it would make sense if they were all based off an extinct species, rather than prehistoric animals. Venusaur takes some origins from the Dicynodont, as the Dicynodont shares many physical traits with Venusaur, such as its teeth and mouth, which are some of the first of its kind on the planet historically. There was even a newly discovered Dicynodont named Bulbasaurus Phylloxron? I don't know. Whatever that thing is, okay? Meganium is very obviously based on the sauropods, which are any member of the dinosaur family which share traits of a large size, long neck, a tail, and a four-legged stance, like the Brachiosaurus for example. Sounds like Meganium to me. Sceptile's appearance is said to be based off the Dilophosaurus, while Torterra is based on an Ankylosaur. Again, from Serperior onwards, it gets a little foggy and unclear, but chances are that Serperior takes some origins from the Gigantophis, or the Titanoboa, two extinct genus of snakes known for their massive size. Most people stick to the Titanoboa. Chestnut draws inspiration from the Glyptodonts, a large subfamily of heavily armored extinct relatives of the armadillos. Decidueye is said to take inspiration from one of the two extinct genuses of owls, the Ornimigalonyx or the stilt owl, largely due to the similarity in their long legs, but also to explain the ghost typing. Most people seem to go with the stilt owl since it's an extinct genus from Hawaii. And for Rillaboom, not much speculation has gone into its origins, but a few people have said that it's probably the Gigantopithecus, an extinct genus of a massive gorilla-like ape. Fits the bill if you ask me. Now, there is one more idea that the grass starters represent evolution, as they go from being dinosaurs to things like snakes, mammals, and birds. But I think that's a little far-fetched if you ask me. But then again, like I said earlier, the grass starter theme as a whole is pretty wishy-washy, though there's definitely something there. But don't worry, as our next set of starter themes is pretty much a guarantee. The fire type starters, Chinese Zodiac. This is without a doubt the most obvious and popular theme among the three types. You may have heard the famous fire starter Chinese Zodiac theory, that people used to figure out what the next fire starter will be based off of. In fact, you may have seen a whole lot of speculation flying around right before Scorbunny was revealed, talking about how the next fire starter might be a rabbit, or a horse, or a snake, or something. It's a pretty simple and basic theory. Except, there's one problem with it. It's not a theory. It's the actual theme of the fire starters. Every fire starter falls in line with one of the 12 Chinese zodiacs, and will probably continue to do so for at least the next 4 generations. Charizard is a dragon. Okay, well, maybe not. Only sometimes, I guess. But it represents the dragon on this list. Typhlosion being based off the honey badger and making it reminiscent to weasels makes it represent the rat. Blaziken being a chicken is meant to represent the rooster. Infernape being based off of Sun Wukong makes it cover the monkey. Emboar very obviously covers the boar, and while it may not be that obvious, Delphox covers the dog. This one is probably the one that looks furthest away from the actual theme, but foxes are related to dogs after all, so it works out. While it may start off as a kitten, it ends up being a tiger as Incineroar, so that's another one down. And finally, as mentioned earlier, Cinderace did in fact end up being a rabbit. So, there are 4 remaining zodiacs left: the horse, the snake, the ox, and the sheep. Like I said, the chances are high that the next 4 generations of Pokemon will have fire starters based off these animals. If we go on for that long, that is, which we will. But what they'll do after they go through the whole list is beyond me. Maybe they'll reset with the Chinese zodiac and make more starters based off the respective animals. Or maybe they'll look for other zodiac-like things. Who knows? The water starters. Weapons. Despite being a game for children and Pokemon doing everything to censor every little thing as much as possible, they always played a little dangerous with the water starters, as each of them carries some kind of weapon on them. And also recently, I stumbled upon a post on Reddit from the user Andreas_1, who thinks that the water starters all represent historic Asian weaponry, rather than a mix and match of modern and old weapons. I think it's interesting, so I'll be mentioning both the common conception as well as his own ideas, and I'll be sure to leave his post in the description down below. If you ask me, this should be the most obvious theme, as it's the most visible one, but it is genuinely hard to tell what weapons some of these starters wield. That definitely isn't the case with Blastoise though. It's pretty obvious that this beast is rocking out with some crazy cannons, which could also be the Gon. Feraligatr on the other hand is a bit more subtle, and is said to be representing brass knuckles, though I think its historic counterpart of the Tekokage makes a lot more sense. Swampert is only obvious if you know of the weapon, the dorsal fin or the Tessin. Quite the resemblance, don't you think? Empoleon, being the Emperor of the Seas, naturally will be wielding a trident like Poseidon, but it could be a bit more Asian with the Cha. And of course, a samurai like Samurott will also wield the mighty katana, or the Kamiyari, to slice away at its opponents. Greninja always stealthily carries its water shurikens on hand, and while Primarina may use its bubbles as weapons, leading people to think that it's using bombs, some people say it's a mace, hence the spikes on its tail. But it could also be the Shakuhachi, which is a Japanese flute that some people did use for fighting apparently. And since I watched Naruto, I can only really think of Primarina using it like this. And finally, Inteleon, being James Bond, can't actually carry a gun cause, well, it's a Pokemon. They gotta censor to that extent at least. But it does carry a finger gun. But its tail could be based off the this thing, okay? I can't pronounce half these names, I'm sorry. It is the part of Inteleon that Gigantamax is after all. You could argue that there's another theme to the water starters as well, and that's that they're all semi-aquatic animals. Yes, it's true, but I don't really count it as a theme. I count it more as a necessity. After all, how else are you gonna have all these water types function on land if they can only flop around in water? But just to cover all my bases, I'll quickly go over them as well. Blastoise is based off a tortoise, Feraligatr an alligator, Swampert the axolotl, Empoleon a penguin, Samurott an otter, Greninja a frog, Primarina a sea lion, and while Inteleon is based off a chameleon, it's also based off of the basilisk lizard, which, as you can tell, is definitely semi-aquatic. And there you have it, guys. Those are all the themes related to the starter Pokemon and their typings. Again, not that exact with some of them, I know, but there are certainly themes going on with all of them. But that's not all for the themes of the starters themselves, as we do have generational themes for all the starters. And beyond the fact that some of these have been confirmed by the developers, in my opinion, those are a lot more interesting and fun. So stay tuned for that video, which will be coming out later this month. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys over on the next video, alright? Later.